Welcome to the TK Show with the Athletic Bay Area's Editor-in-Chief, Tim Kawakami.
Hey everybody, Tim Kawakami here, TK Show, recording from a primetime Warriors practice. A little late night, back from the All-Star break, and we're talking to lead assistant Mike Brown. Great to have you on, Mike. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks.
How was the All-Star break for you?
Fantastic. Except I was down in L.A. My son played at USC and then at UCLA. They lost at USC in the buzzer and then lost in overtime against UCLA. But it was fun for me to be able to watch him and his team play. So it was enjoyable.
So how many games have you been able to get to see this?
Probably about five.
Nice.
You know, with him being right up in Eugene, it's an easy flight. And so I've caught a few games up there.
Are you coaching along with it? Are you going through it in your mind, or can you just be a father and let it happen?
This one I could be a father and let it happen. I mean, I know how hard it is to coach, and so I don't try to watch any of the X's and O's type stuff. I watch him. But I've gotten to a point now, Timmy, that instead of me really talking to him about it after the game, during the game, I'll just text him some things, and then if he wants to read the text and talk about it after the game, then great. If not, tell them, hey, good win or good,
Wait a minute, basketball players look at their cell phones? I was unaware about that. Like at halftime, maybe?
Halftime, in between quarters.
Right on there. During the game, overtime, I'm going to take a look at this.
Why do you think we got all those people sitting behind the bench?
That's right.
They're cell phone holders.
Yes. Make sure everyone's organized correctly. Hey, they're back from the break. I know there was a practice yesterday with the non-All-Star guys. The All-Star guys come in here tonight. Did you see a freshness? Did you see kind of what you maybe wanted to see? And you've been talking about these guys look tired. We've all been talking about. Did they look fresher tonight? Yeah,
they all looked like they were ready to get back to work, and with the understanding that we're basically down to the stretch run now. And so, we haven't played as well as we'd like to the past month and a half, whatever it's been, and taking a little break, getting away from each other, getting away from the daily grind of practice, shooting around game, travel. And each other was good for us, I felt, and guys seem to be come back in good spirits.
Of course, everybody in the Bay Area, so it's crisis time for the Warriors. You're slipped to the number 2 seed. How do you feel about the way this team has come to this point? We've all noted that it's a long run, 3 long trips to the finals. Do you sense that there's a little slippage with this team, and have there been steps taken to kind of tighten up a little bit?
Yeah, there's been some slippage. There's been some slippage, like I said, in the last month and a half or so, and to me that's natural. That's normal. It's hard to sustain being at the top for 4, 5, 6, 7 years in a row, and I feel like I've been with some good organizations, some good coaches, good GMs, good players, and you look at the model franchise in San Antonio, with that being one of them, and they've had some Hall of Fame players go through there, and it was hard for them to sustain.
Never won back-to-back?
Yeah, I was there 3 years. I was there 3 years as an assistant coach, and we won it 1 year, and the other 2, I think 1 year we got bumped out in the second round. Maybe the other year maybe the semifinals. I'm not sure, but it's a hard thing to do. And so what this club has done so far has been, in my opinion, fantastic. It's been something that not many people can imagine doing. It's very hard. The league is using you as a model, and so every day they're doing things to combat the type of team you have and the things that you do out there. And every time we play a team, it's their biggest game of the year. And so even for teams that are losing teams, they circle our date, and if they can get a win, and in their mind it might help change or turn around their franchise. And so where we are right now, I'm more than okay with it. You struggle during the regular season from time to time, and you find your way to get through it or get past it, and it helps you for times in the playoff when you're going to hit some adversity, because you will hit some in the playoffs.
Except for last year, maybe. that wasn't a lot of adversity. Well, you did have adversity, though. I mean, Steve was out.
Steve was out. Not only was Steve out, KD was out. And we were starting a rookie in Pat McCaw. So we hit a few roadblocks. We were down big against San Antonio, and obviously Kawhi getting hurt. seemed like it helped us a little bit, or gave us a better chance to get back in the game. But that's still a quality team. Yeah. That's a playoff team. That's a well-coached team. And to come back from the deficit that we did in that game, to come back from the deficit that we did in Game 3 up in Portland, those are some things that maybe if during the course of the season we had it smooth sailing, that we might not have figured out how to get through during those times.
Do you remember those 11 games that you coached differently than the other games? I mean, are those kind of like highlighted in your mind just because you had a different role for them?
The one game that I think I will always remember, not necessarily the 11 games, but the first game that I coached at Portland, and we were down huge, and just the patience that all of our guys had with me. And vice versa throughout the course of the game. Nobody panicked, nobody got out of the box or anything like that. We just kind of stayed the course, and I just think back to almost every timeout specifically that we just kind of talked through where we were, and it was just a collective deal where not just from the players but from all the coaches too, and it was a collective thing that we had going on during those timeouts that, gave me in particular a sense of confidence that, we might be down, 18, 19, whatever it was. But I just felt like if we stayed the course and we continued to chip away like we were doing and keep our head on our shoulders, that we'd win the game. And we did.
You were so relaxed throughout. Maybe not when you're down 18, but you can tell when a guy's like, wait a minute, I'm not sure, but you never gave that vibe off. Was that important to you? Were you trying to give that vibe off, or was it just, hey, I feel pretty comfortable with what I'm doing?
I did feel comfortable with what I was doing, and again, a lot of it, you go back to the foundation that Bob and Steve have laid here. But, I mean, TK, the reality of it is that, I've never been at the helm of 4 All-Stars, let alone, I don't think I've ever coached 2 perennial All-Stars at one time. Yeah. And so, when you have a team full of talented players like this that not only obviously are talented, but are mature and have a great feel and understanding of how to play the game the right way on both ends of the floor, they help you become relaxed. And that group needs that more than anything else. They just need a little bit of guidance out there from time to time.
Except when you give them the clipboard. That's the other guy. The other guy did that. What did you think about that? I mean, you're meeting with him, beginning of the timeout, and then Draymond comes up, grabs the clipboard, and what did you do then? You just kind of stared off into space, or did you listen in on some of those huddles?
No, you listen in on some of the huddles. Not only that, we still talk to guys individually, if we saw something on the floor. But, I thought it was a great exercise by Steve. And again, it's one of those things where I think Terry Stotts said it best. He apparently after that happened, obviously we, a couple of days later, a few days later, we played up in Portland, and I heard during practice he gave the clipboard to Damian Lillard, and he said this is about as far as he can go with it.
That's right.
He's got a different team than us, and he's right. The team that we have, you can think a little bit out of the box and challenge them in different ways, and that was definitely, in my opinion, especially with our team, a great way to challenge them.
You weren't giving up those rotations, though. I noticed that. You wrote down the players who were in the game, right?
Yeah, we helped them with substitutions. That's about it, though.
Yeah, you and I talk about this all. I love watching rotations. I'm sure that's how you guys watch the game or coach the game. Who do we want in? What combinations work? What are maybe the slight alterations that we've seen this season? And we've seen maybe the second unit change a little bit. Have there been a few things that you can point to? Okay, we've changed this a little bit. We've tweaked it a little bit here.
Not really. Obviously the personnel has changed with our second unit because Ian Clark was a mainstay with our second group, and Matt was out there from time to time, but. For the most part, Timmy, it's been relatively the same. There are times when, last year it seemed like we always would take KD out, so we tried to stagger KD and Steph bring KD back a little bit before Steph in the second quarter, and this year we probably let them both run the whole first quarter more than they did last year. That's real subtle, but other than that, it's pretty much been the same. Our goal at the end of the day is to try to keep 2 of our 4 perennial all-stars on the floor at the same time.
What have you thought? I mean, we talked to Sean about the second unit. He goes, "What's our defensive rating?" And it's obviously tremendous. That second unit is lights out defensively. Offensively, there certainly can be some issues. Do you see Nick Young, Patrick McCaw having a more of a role? That they're not in that unit right now, but can you see more offense coming out of that group? Do you need to see more offense out of that group?
Anytime, obviously, that you can bring more offense to the table, that's a bonus. But the thing about, you've been around the league long enough that, the offense is not always there, even if you have a great shooter or two within that group of 5. And so the one thing that can always be there is the defensive intensity, pressure, however you want to call it. And that's why a lot of times, especially as of late, we haven't gotten off to a good start. But it seems like when we got to our second unit, they've got they get to a nice little run or a nice little rally, get us back into the game, get our guys excited and stuff like that. And it's not necessarily because they're scoring a lot of points, just they're so long, and their length and their intelligence and all that other stuff allows us to switch a lot of things. And it's hard to pinpoint for our opponents who they can attack when we do switch in a mismatch situation. And so now, our opponents are shooting over in length almost every time down the floor, and getting 3-4 stops in a row for that group usually gets us out in transition. We get an easy basket, or it allows us to try to execute in the half court. And although they're not necessarily scoring all the time, if they can get 3-4 stops in a row and maybe get a bucket or 2 in the half court and get a run out here or there because they got a nice stop, then that's 2 to 3 baskets to the opponent's 0. So that intensity defensively is in the length and size and all that is a positive.
Like every David West bucket, it counts like 2. Yeah. It feels like 4 points, like just because there's so little else going on offensively sometimes.
And we play through him quite a bit. We play through him quite a bit.
David West, David West, that jump shot. It's almost as valuable to you, maybe parallel to a Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, just because within the context of that offense,
of the group.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely, that unit. You talked about how teams have played against you now for several years, and they're trying to match themselves against you. Right. Do you think Houston is become an issue for you guys at all? Other than not a you're scared of them, but they have 1, 2, or 3 this season. They do seem to have players that can bug you, and get into those passing lanes. And we know you like them, certainly like the motion offense. Do you see Houston as a different kind of challenge this season?
I do, and they added Chris Paul, who I think has helped tremendously, and a lot of people talk about that. But the thing that people don't give enough credit to Houston, in my opinion, about is the addition of PJ Tucker and
Mbah a Moute.
Yeah, Mbah a Moute, and those 2 guys bring length and toughness and a defensive intensity that. In the past, Houston didn't quite have. When you played those guys, they obviously had Trevor Ariza. You looked at him as a staunch defender with some length and some athleticism. But then beyond that, especially out on the perimeter, they didn't have the guys that they have now. And so I think the addition of those 2 guys, more than anything else, has helped those guys become a contender. And they're able to do some things defensively now against us that they weren't able to do before.
Do they make you, we know where the entry pass is going to go, and they know where the entry pass is going to go. Do you have to say, okay, we're going to have to change some things, specifically maybe against that team and against Oklahoma City? Because they just kind of seem to know where the passes are going when you start your offense?
We just have to – one thing, we can't be as carefree or careless with the basketball because especially against a team like OKC, because they have, again, I'm going to go back, length and athleticism, and those guys are very good in the passing lanes. And our guys, at times will get careless with the basketball. Not only will they get careless with the basketball, but our guys like to pass. And sometimes when you play motion offense like we do, and that ball is zipping around the perimeter like it is for us, guys take chances, and you can't take chances against those types of teams. Steve says it all the time. He tells our guys to hit singles, and sometimes our guys like to hit home runs
yes. Grand slam
when it's not quite there. And a team like OKC especially will feed off of that and make you pay.
The pick and roll, it's a debate. You could just throw Steph and Kevin in a pick and roll, or Steph and Draymond in a pick and roll, and just keep running and keep running, and there are a lot of points to be made from that. When you were coaching, there was a little more pick and roll, a little more. I mean, do you see this happening naturally in a playoff situation, that the pick and roll is going to happen maybe more than you're doing right now, which is just the movement, just the motion?
Yes. I think come playoff time, it's more about at times attacking matchups, and we did last year, specifically against Utah, even Portland too. But Utah got late in some games, and bringing KD to the top of the floor and playing pick and roll, so he can go downhill against Rudy Gobert, was something that was pretty effective. And I mean, there were probably stretches where we ran that 5, 6, 7, 8 times in a row, because it's an advantage for us. So, I think come playoff time, we may do a little bit more of that. But, right now, Steve really has pressed the motion passing game against, with these guys, and they've picked up on it well, and it's something that's worked for many years, and our guys feel comfortable doing it. And, and it's easy, I think, to pinpoint where you want to go in different situations throughout a course of a 7-game series. So it'll be a little different, I think, from time to time during the playoffs.
Safe to say you're maybe kind of trying to get him to do it a little bit more occasionally than he wants to do, or is that once you get the postseason, it's all you're doing whatever works?
Yeah, we'll do whatever works, and I think he knows that. If there's an advantage.
Klay Thompson according to Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson's still in Cabo, but it's okay.
Klay didn't disagree.
No, Steve understands, and he did it when he came back last year. We had specific action where the double drag where KD was involved with Steph and our big, and against Cleveland, I mean, we went to that thing again 4, 5, 6 times in a row because it was something that worked well, and it confused Cleveland. And I think in that environment, Steve is more understanding, or he would adjust more in situations where we have an advantage and kind of attack a mismatch from time to time. But he's such a purist that he really loves the motion game, and he's implemented it to a T here with these guys, and they picked up on it well. So,
and they're pretty good at it too.
Not bad.
They're all right.
Not bad.
Decent players.
Yes.
You have been a head coach obviously many times. You have going to have offers, and this is a great situation for you, I know. But do you still say, okay, I'm going to be a head coach, and I'm going to, there's going to be a right situation out there, or are you saying this could be where you are for a while?
Yeah, I'm open to anything. The one thing that I do know for sure is. I enjoy working for Bob. I enjoy working for Steve. I feel like I've learned a lot. I feel like I've given some too, or helped in some areas too. But my time here has been fantastic, and the Bay Area has been great. And so I'm looking forward to being here. And if an opportunity comes up, obviously I owe it to myself and to my family to look into it. But by no means am I in any rush to try to go someplace else.
You're not the new guy either, right? So this year there wasn't a change at all, right, on the staff. Did you feel that continuity that they've been having some changes every year? Guys are getting head coaching jobs, which is obviously a good thing.
Right.
Did you feel that this was a little more continuity going into this season?
Yes, I did. I know for me,
for you for sure,
in particular for sure, because last year you're trying to coach, you're trying to help out, but while you're doing that, you're also trying to get used to the guys individually, not just the players, but the coaches too, and then the culture, and figure out how can you help the team within the framework of what they're trying to do and what they've been doing to have the success that they've had. And so I feel like I have a better feel or I can help out in different situations a little bit better this year than what I did last year.
You're the workout guy for Draymond, and he has gone through some different things. He's talked about some different things. Where do you think he is physically? Where do you think he is with that shot? It's what we see on the court. Do you see it coming open a little bit more for him?
Yeah, teams are playing off him, and and they are because of who he's out on the floor with. And if he's open, he's got to step up and shoot the basketball. And we have the utmost confidence in him making the shot, especially if it's a big shot. He's done it so many times in the past. But his shoulder's been bothering him a little bit this year, and so he hasn't had the reps this year. He hasn't gotten reps this year in practice and stuff like that, post practice that he had gotten last year, and it's bothered him from time to time. But again, Tim, I'm confident that if he's open and he has to take a big shot, first of all, he's not afraid to do that. But second of all, I think he'll knock it down for us.
One thing you can say, he certainly works on it. All the time.
Yes.
I mean, we talk about how close is he to getting some kind of a jump hook, a mid-range little runner? He has it occasionally, but how close is he really being able to put that in as a staple of his game?
The runner is something that he's added this year. He's hit that a few times throughout the course of the year.
It's a tough shot.
It's a tough shot, but that's something that he has incorporated in his workouts. So he gets up a handful of runners on a daily basis when he gets his workout in. The jump hook is something that in the summertime he works on. Doesn't work on it as much here, and one of the things we talked about doing is putting him in a better position to where if he has a smaller guy on him, like Dallas put
Barea, right?
Well, Yogi Ferrell, Dennis Smith, I think, on him a couple of times, and we could put him in a better position to where he doesn't have to necessarily go to his jump hook, where you just kind of throw the ball up to him and lift the offense in a nutshell and let him go get it, and now it's basically a layup because he's going to out jump those guys. So
Houston does that and will do that, right? They put Chris Paul on him, or they put some. What's the answer there then? Yeah, it's to get him moving against a small guy.
Try to get him moving into the painted area versus small guy, and to where he can get deep enough in the paint where that guy feels like he needs to front him. Now if he fronts him, basically you just throw the ball up to, if the offense is lifted, above, basically above the free throw line. Now you just throw the ball up to the back of the rim and have him go get it, and now it's a layup instead of a back down jump hook where a double team can come, or somebody can fake a double team and make him pick it up when he's trying to back the smaller guy down.
Yeah, I mean, Houston's going to do it, I'm pretty sure, right? I mean, that's what they've done, and they've some success out of it.
Correct.
What is that like, knowing that you have all these teams just studying everything you do and trying to work on? I mean, you're the best team, you want that, but to know everybody's eyeing everything you do strategically.
First of all, it's an honor. That's part of what, in my opinion, about being here. You're learning kind of on the fly, because teams are building their teams to compete against you, and not only with their roster, but with their X's and O's on both ends of the floor. And so you learn different ways to counter what teams are throwing at you, the new things that teams are throwing at you. So you take it in stride. You keep trying to make adjustments. And you go see what happens. But this team is so talented and so long that when our minds are right and we're playing with a defensive and intensity that we've played with in the past quite a bit. I don't care what you throw at us. These guys are hard to beat.
What's it like to have the old guys, David West, Andre Iguodala, and Sean Livingston, mean so much to this team at this point? You've got Steph, you've got Clay, you've got Draymond, you've got Kevin, yet those three guys kind of settle it down almost every time.
It's the ironic thing about it is not only those are three older veterans, but the biggest thing is they're three respected older veterans. Because there are a lot of teams out there that have quote-unquote older guys, or guys been in the league 12, 13 years, but if the respect's not there, then you're not going to get much out of them. And our guys are so well respected in the locker room that the message doesn't always have to come from Steve or from one of the assistant coaches. When those guys speak, everybody listens, and it's a powerful thing to have when you have the type of vets that we have on our team, like those three guys. And whether it's during a timeout in the huddle, or at halftime in the locker room, or during practice or whatever, those guys know what to say. They seem like they always say the right thing, and everybody listens when they do.
All right, when everyone listens to Mike Brown, I'm sure we'll definitely listen to this podcast. That I know. As long as he subscribes to the right one, not the wrong one, the right TK show on The Athletic. But Mike, as always, great talking to you. We'll break down the rotations again, I'm sure. But appreciate you coming on. Always good talking to you.
Hey, anytime. I appreciate you having me, Tim.
All right, everybody, that's the TK show. Thanks.